Hi there, and welcome to Tammy Talk TV, where we share ways to build a healthy, happy life. Today I thought I would just take a few minutes to introduce myself to you and explain to you how I came to teach this material. So, my name is Tammy Kears, and for 12 years I was an adjunct professor at Northwest Florida State College. And during that time I was primarily an English professor. But as luck would have it, I ended up teaching a class that I had never even heard of before, and it turned out to be the one class that absolutely changed my life. It was called College Success, and I came to teach it through a fairly unusual series of events. So I live about 30 miles away from main campus in a small town where we have a satellite campus. And my boss called me one day, the first day of the semester, and said, "Hey Tammy, can you take another class?" And I said, "Oh, sure, I've got all my materials together. It's just a matter of adding another class to the roster." And she said, "Well, about that. It's not an English class." I said, "Yeah, but I'm an English professor." And she said, "Yeah, but it's a class called College Success. And the instructor has been called away on a family emergency, and we don't think she's coming back. And we need somebody to teach this class." And I said, "Well, okay." She said, "Well, another thing is, it starts in 2 hours, and so we'll get you your books and your materials and everything later in the week. But for today, I need you to meet that class, tell them what has happened, and assure them that we're going to move forward." So I said, "Oh, okay." So I grabbed my stuff and I ran to the class. And like I say, I'm in a satellite campus here in a very small town. So when I get there, I know most of the people there. I either went to school with them myself, or I've taught them in other classes, or somehow, some way, I knew most of the class already. So we're talking about this class, and I'm telling them what happened, and I noticed that they have their books. I'm like, "Hey, let's take a look at that book and see what we're up against." So we start paging through this book, and it's this awesome book, and we all get so excited because of the content. It's like how to find inspiration, how to set goals, how to prioritize, what's your learning style, how to get organized, and how to present yourself online, and just this whole array of things that at this point was totally focused on the college experience. But we could all see that there were much broader implications. Now, this class typically came to people, or people typically came to this class as freshmen in college. So there was a good chance that for some reason they might not continue that education. They might make it through one semester, they might make it through 3 or 4, they might finish the entire college experience. But that was always up in the air. So even in that first class, we realized, oh, there's stuff here that if you never come back to a college classroom is really, really useful. So we're going through this book, and it dawns on us all about the same time. Oh, why didn't they teach us this in early elementary school? Why didn't they start instilling these techniques in us so that that would serve us so well through the entire school experience? Why did we have to come to an elective class in a college classroom to learn these things that would have served us so well as we were growing up? So let me take a moment, a little aside, and say to you, if you have children, they are never too young and they are never too old to learn these skills. So things like how to say no and be comfortable with it, how to communicate your intentions, how to be organized, how to present yourself online. You're never too young nor too old to learn these things. So if you have children, start instilling these techniques in them now, because the younger you learn something, the less strange it is to incorporate it into your life. So anyway, aside from that entire semester, I did just what they did. I read the chapter, we came into the class, I would moderate a group discussion. So that simply means that I would introduce the subject, I would tell them everything I knew about it, which early on wasn't very much, but I would tell them what I knew, and then I would ask them what they knew, and I would moderate a big group discussion. And even in that very first class, I started pulling things and gathering information, tips, tools, and techniques to add to the material that I was seeing in the book, because that book was focused on college students. And I knew there would be some students that did not finish that college experience, but that could learn things in that class to take with them for the rest of their life. Like I say, I taught this class for 12 years, and I taught it just like that. I would read the chapter with them every semester, because you know how it is when you read something a second, third, fourth, 50th, 60th time, you get something different out of it every time. And so I would read the chapter and they would read the chapter, and we would come into class and have a big informal discussion. And it would be like, say, priorities. And I would tell them everything I knew about setting priorities and how to manage priorities. And then I would ask them what they knew. And I always learned something from them. And so I'm steadily gathering these things, writing them down and saving them in my notes so that I can present them to the next semester and the next semester and the next semester. And so for 12 years I carried on just like that. And although I taught a lot of different classes, that's the one that just lit me up. And really because it came to me at a time in my life when I was a young working mother. And I had everything that I wanted, or that I thought I wanted. I had a happy marriage, 2 sweet children, a nice home, a sporty little car, a family car. At one time we had a boat. We had 2 dogs and a cat. But most of the time I was absolutely exhausted and frustrated because I felt like I was just drowning in the daily details. I was just treading water and not even doing that very well. But I was lacking direction and focus and priorities and goals and all the things that this class was teaching me. So as I got further and further into it, it served me as well as it served any of those students. So I learned more from them, I'm pretty sure, than they learned from me most semesters. But it was just this wonderful collection of tools that we were all able to put together and share. And the thing about it was, not every tool works for everybody. So the book told us to look at it like a toolbox, right? So if you've got all your tools in the toolbox, you may not use them all, but they're there and you know they're there and you know what they're for. So you can try them, and if that's not the tool for the job, you can put it back in the toolbox and choose another tool. And that class taught me more than any class I ever took or taught. And so when I stopped teaching, and I worked at a couple of different jobs after that, and that's a whole nother story, but when I stopped teaching, that's the one thing I could not let go of. And so I started sharing it with friends and family and anyone that would listen. And then through another twist of fate, I learned how to design websites. And suddenly the two were able to fit together, and I realized I can do this through an online environment and have the same sort of continuous conversation with you online. So that's how I came to teach this class. That's a little bit about me. I want to know a little bit about you. So drop me a comment in the box below and tell me something about yourself. And join us anytime that you need a tool or that you want to share a tool. And until then, here's wishing you much health and happiness. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you get a reminder when there's a new video.